I had a client come in not that long ago who's in his 70s, and he had never explored religious faith of any kind. And he started working with me on his attachment, his childhood wounds. And even at 70, you're still going to have childhood wounds if you don't deal with them. And as we worked through them, he started exploring this concept of faith. And he said, I've never given religion a chance. And I'm very Christian, but I don't push it on anybody. So I said, okay, if you want to talk about that, I'm here for it. So he started reading the Bible at 70. And he said, I have read pretty much everything except the Bible. Why has it taken me 70 years? And then he was going through it saying, Bill, people told me that it said you have to be judgmental and hurt people and treat people like garbage. And that's the opposite of everything I'm seeing in here. And I said, yeah, when you read the Bible and follow it, it forces you to care for other people. It forces you to listen and nurture them and care about their wounds. You have to. It's not an option for you at all, so you have to explore it. So has that been surprising to you, of seeing that depth of everything you're learning out in the world that works? Now you see that it comes directly from that book.
100%. It's a definite reflection of that. But a lot of times the word and what's being put out there, it gets misconstrued. You know what I mean? Something simple as like Tupac had this saying, only God can judge me. That's not necessarily the case if you really read the Bible. Now, being judgmental is wrong. We're not supposed to do that. But as Christians, strong Christians, we are supposed to hold each other accountable. Right? So it's not only God can judge me. That's false. That's not even in the Bible anywhere. Right? But what is in the Bible is that we're supposed to hold each other accountable, and if we're messing up, we're supposed to tell it with love, right? Tell each other, right? So we don't continue doing those things, because will be a judgment one day, and that's the final call. So man, if I'm messing up, my brother, tell me where I'm messing up so I can fix this, right? So when I do come to the final judgment, I pass the test. That's love, right? And the thing about this whole tolerance thing and this which weird way this society is going, like tolerant, like you got to be intolerant for some things. You just have to be, right? Like for instance, like I'm intolerant when my kid's playing in the street. I'm going to be intolerant of that because I love that knucklehead. I love him. I'm not going to let him run around this. That's stupid. That's not smart. So I'm not going to tolerate that. Right. And when you go to a point, if I just let him do that, that's not love. And that's the way we're heading now. The society is just maximum level of tolerance. And that's not love at all. Like, I don't know what that is.
Well, it's dysregulation, right? Tolerance in this space is the hyper focus on, say, sensitivity, right? We're removing kids and people's rights to feel negative emotion. They cannot feel negative emotion. We cannot tell them that something they're doing is negative. We cannot even point out to them that they're causing negative things to themselves, because it would be mean. And by consequence, you're just abandoning them. You're preventing them from, first of all, learning how to persevere, right? People are starting to talk about the fact that fitness is now oppressive. I go, how? That is the thing that gets people out of horrible situations. It's the thing that physically heals their bodies, but they say, well, you being fitter than me is oppressive to me. Mm-hmm. I cannot fathom the logic in that statement. But the logic really stems from the fact that we now must create a society of pleasure, right? If we were talking about biblical terms, we have a couple of stories over how that went and what happens, but those are truly cautionary tales. And the cautionary tales really play into the idea that suffering, perseverance, overcoming challenges is a part of life. Somehow we are taking that away.
Victim mentality to the fullest. That's exactly what they play to, that victim mentality, man. That's the way we're going.
Well, and there's two different. So the idea in our culture is that pain is the biggest evil there is.
Right.
Right. But there's actually two different kinds of pain. There's a pain that hurts, but there's a pain that harms. And what we've done is said that if you ever even do anything that hurts somebody, then you are harming them automatically. We've removed those two things. Hurt is discomfort. It's displeasure. I at one point, a couple of years ago, I fell down. I hurt my shoulder. It was really injured, and all I did was kind of just curl it up and baby my shoulder for like 6 months. And then I finally talked to one of my friends who was really big into fitness. He said, no, go work out your shoulder. Go do. And I said, but it's going to hurt. And he said, yeah, but the muscles will build and it will correct. Do it smart and careful. So I did it, and it hurt and it was uncomfortable, but it fixed it. Oh my gosh, it felt so much better after just a few workouts. I was harming myself by refusing to go through a little bit of hurt. And it seems like that's to a large extent what we're doing in our culture now is never, ever, ever let anybody ever experience any hurt. But what they're going to do is experience overwhelming harm later on as a consequence.
Well, let's build on that even more, because what's happening here is that you're prohibiting people from talking about hurt, right? So by doing that, we're removing the diagnostic component, because, if you didn't tell your friend that your shoulder was hurt, you would have continued going about it the same way. And sure, it wouldn't have made you feel bad about yourself, because I'm sure if you look back and said, well, like, why did I do that? Why didn't I start working out from, day one? Only don't want to work out right after an injury, but you know what I mean, as opposed to waiting for this long. So part of the challenge that many people have is that they don't want to talk about hurtful things, not just because they don't want to talk about hurtful things, but also because they don't want to hear about things that they could be doing wrong. The criticism, exactly what AJ said, right? Brother, if I am doing something wrong, just please tell me so I can fix it, because we're on a timer, right? We got a judgment coming. If you don't believe in that, that's cool, but you are going to be dead one day. And not only dead, will you also be old, and your judgment will not just be the one that's going to be when you're, dead in front of God. You're also going to be lying in your bed at 75, reflecting on your life, saying what to yourself? And if you screw that up, and as AJ says, nobody tells you, what's happening here? Why are we doing this?
If you like this clip, I know you're going to enjoy the full episode. You can watch it right here.